What's up, everybody? Yes, indeed, man, I'm back. You guys already know what time it is with this cat right here. I don't talk about it, I stay about it. Yes, indeed, I am back from Las Vegas. It's my second day of being back, well rested. So this is going to be a little late drop from what I'm normally used to doing. But it's all good, though, because like I said in the past, I'm going to tell you guys today, OG keep on pulling up, man, regardless. You know what I mean? Even if I don't have nothing to talk about, I'll just pull up just to say you vote. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't talk about it, I stay about it. But today I'm going to pick up a little bit on where Mr. Dubs spoke on the CDC. And I've spoke on this many times in the past. I don't know if you guys paid attention, but CDC, which he addresses it as CDCR, I'm sure when he first started his journey, it was CDC. And well, actually, I this last how should I say, the last rodeo that I went through as well, it was already changed over to CDCR, and I tripped out on just the way the whole system has changed. Even the dress attire has changed. You know what I mean? They wear jumpsuits and stuff like that. You know, but it's California Department of Corrections Rehabilitation Center now. Back in the day, it was just California Department of Corrections. Like I've said in the past, man, CDC plays chess. And not only CDC, it's anything that has to do with law enforcement. Let's keep it real. You know, they didn't earn those positions that they work in because they're naive and foolish. You know, the whole system, the whole judicial system will play chess. You know, sometimes the judicial system will play favor for people that are paid. But anyways, that's a whole different topic, man. So anyways, I did ramble on once again. This is a fitness channel with a twist. I'm gonna always start off talking about fitness and nutrition and end with a story. Today, like I said, I'm gonna pick up a little bit where Mr. Dubs left off. Why? Because I'm pretty familiar with what he spoke on. You know, I've actually lived it myself. You know, he spoke about the SSU kicking indoors, and I've actually lived that. I went through it, and I will get to that. But before I do move on to that, remember to hit that like and subscribe button, put your notification bell on all, share this channel. 10,000 subscribers, you guys already know what time it is. Once we hit that 10 racks, baby, we will start doing lives on a regular basis. We just got to come up with a designated time and place, and we'll bring this motherfucking YouTube yada to life, people. You guys already know, man, I don't discriminate. All is welcome. As long as you come in with respect, you will get with respect. So, now with that being said, if you want to get started in your fitness journey, becoming that 10.5, shoot me that DM, man. You could actually go check out my Instagram. It's high power fitness, high_power_fitness_. And right there in my Instagram, you will notice that I have over a couple years of material proving exactly who I am and what I stand for and what I've done for others, because I've changed a lot of people's lives. You know, I have testimonials from team members and non-team members. I have transformations from some of my team members. I even have a couple on there, which I consider my first power couple. They came in with limited beliefs, and they actually work in the medical field, and I helped them overcome their limited beliefs. Their limited beliefs were they didn't think that they could get the results that they achieved. And actually, the one individual that signed up with me because of Lucky Sanzu. When I was being interviewed through Lucky Sanzu, she had tapped in, and yeah, she stuck to her word, man. She didn't talk about it, she stood about it. And I like these, man, I deal with individuals, man. They talk a good talk, and then when it comes down to it, they're scared to make that investment. Either that or they're just being fucking cheap, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, like I said, man, this is the the best thing that you could do for yourself is investing in yourself, becoming that best version of yourself, getting healthy, getting right, you know, physically, mentally, and spiritually. You know, it's a great feeling, you know, knowing that you're going to be around here longer for your family, to provide for them and to share precious moments with them. But anyways, people, yes, I did ramble on, huh? Today's video is going to be a little bit shorter. Dubs spoke a lot about the CDC and what they do, and I've done spoken on that, man, about the CDC. They play chess, man, and like I've told you guys, CDC will never give you something for nothing. Okay. Yes, I understand the hunger strikes, this and that. It caught the media's attention. Of course, with the media's attention, it brought in the courts. And with the courts, once the courts get involved, obviously CDC has to make adjustments. But I'm going to tell you right now from experience, man, I've done time with individuals that came with a certain sentence, and once they went through classification, they came out with a longer sentence. Why? Because they said that the courts miscalculated their sentence. It's crazy. CDC is a very powerful union. Let's just put it that way. Very, very powerful. They run their own rules. Once you get behind them walls, just because you're given a court order doesn't mean that they're going to listen to what that judge said. You know, that's their house. In reality, yeah, I know a lot of people are going to say, no, that's our house. But no, in all reality, it's their house. They could shut that shit down. They're just there basically to keep the peace, at least back when I was doing time. People have changed. Just the way of living and the way people think back there has changed. And for what reasons? I'm sure there's good cause behind their change, you know. I really can't answer on that. But like I said, I'm under old school ways. And yeah. Well, anyways, people. Back to CDC and then playing chess. Yeah, there was a lot of individuals that were housed in Pelican Bay, not only in Pelican Bay, and other shoes that had been slammed down for many years. Whether they had reached the pinnacle of criminality, only that person knows. And at the end of the day, you can't speak for another man's mind. Only that individual can speak for himself. And what I'm referring to is this. Once they allowed everybody to come out from being slammed down, the only reason why they allowed it is because it came with conditions. And like I said, CDC plays chess. They gave them a condition to come out from behind, to come out from them dungeons, but with the condition of that they would have to be housed on certain yards. And with these yards, before these conditions were here, the different titles of these yards, those were where all the people that were piece of shits went to. Okay, keep in mind, during my time, there was a lot of yards, even to this day, more than likely. Well, no, I don't know about to this day, but there's yards that had curfews. You had to be off and get off within a certain amount of time, or else you would, you know, be considered no good. You know what I mean? Now the times have changed, and now they were put over there to live with these individuals that are considered no good. Now standards have changed. Now you get an individual that's been slammed down for 20 some years, given an opportunity to come out and get his walk on, to enjoy the sunlight, to get visits, to get bigger packages. You know, a lot will go through a man's mind. And like I said, you can't say what another man would think. You know, everybody's gonna say, oh, I would do this, I would do that. But no, the only way you know you would do something like that is if you were put in that man's position. Okay, and I'm speaking just in general. I'm not narrowing it to any particular persons, but someone given an opportunity of freedom, you know, from being slammed down in them dungeons for years, may just decide to look the other way and make the people that he's living on the yard with invisible and just keep his circle small within close range. Now, there may be them few that would just say, fuck that, slam me back down, and be that Mexica. From my experience in doing time, there's them people out there that are like that. But like I said, at the end of the day, you really don't know how a man's mind would change unless you were put in that position yourself. You know, I'm speaking from a person that, I'm speaking for myself as an individual that's done time. I was never a lifer. And, you know, so basically what I'm doing is speculating the way certain individuals would act, and from what I've been gathering here on social media. Now this right here, I'm going to switch it up a little bit, people. This message right here is for you Mexica fucking warriors out here on social media. You guys know exactly which ones I'm talking about. You fucking poo butts that think you are with the business, all about your life, all about that life. Hey, this is the perfect opportunity, gente. Go catch a cargo. You could go to one of them yardas filled with pesetas. You'll be like a kid in a candy store. Come on now, it's a no-brainer. But no, you do too much of this and you're worried about other people's titles here on social media and trying to label other people. Well, there's your opportunity, gente, mexicas. Go get your motherfucking wiggle on. Also, maliamo cualis. Come on now, keep that shit real, man. If you're gonna keep it gangster, do it. Shit. Me, I'm a retired individual. I'm just bringing it to the audience's attention for those people. And you know, all my audience, they know that these keyboard warriors, they're just wolfing. You know what I mean? Because like I said, there's your opportunity. Look what CDC's doing now. They're housing you with the pesetas, the piece of shits, and all them. Man, could you imagine how you could get off instead of trying to label people and put jackets on people? Especially that fucking lame that was on my live the other day. I'm gonna have to go back into my archives and look at your name. I forget your name, but I really don't care. You know what I mean? Because you, more than likely, you're speaking of yourself, and that's the way you like to vent. It's the way most crazy folks are. You know what I mean? They, well, anyways, I'm not even going to get into that. But yeah, now's your opportunity. Now, the opportunity that arose for the individuals that are sitting over there right now, you got to keep in mind, a lot of them individuals that they let out from them dungeons, more than likely, well, I can't even say that because, like I said, I can't speak for an individual. And the way that yards are being ran today, fuck, man, they got so many different yards, it's hard to keep up with. But there was individuals that were slammed down and that had nothing to do with these titles that people put out there, but they were slammed down because, you know, they were feared by another inmate. So this inmate went and set them up, dropped dimes on them, and then all they would have to do is show some type of direct contact or something. Not even so much a direct contact, even an indirect contact. You could have a tattoo or something resembling something, and that would, you know, get you validated and get you slammed down. Now, I'm going to bring to you my experience with the SSU out here in the free world. I remember when I was younger, in my younger days, my carnal, rest in peace, he passed away in Corcoran. He had an indeterminate shoe. And what they meant by that is, anytime he went back to the joint, he went straight to the shoe. My brother had earned a name, well, was given a name behind them walls. They called him the kid without a conscience. You could probably figure out why they called him that. My brother was a fool. Okay, rest in peace. I love him to death. I miss him to death. And I remember when I was younger, my brother would always go out with law enforcement. And I remember this one particular day, in the trailer court that we lived in. And yes, this was a real trailer court. These weren't fucking mobile homes like the way so a boy named Lefty Gunplay. Those, man, that was luxury right there. That was, geez, I looked like Beverly Hills compared to where I grew up at. But anyways, that's something else, a different story, whatever. I remember being a kid, and I remember this van pulling in, and these fools all dressed in black, fucking, to me at that time looked like machine guns, but they were probably ARs or something, kicking the door. Well, they actually didn't kick it in, they broke it open to get in there to go get my brother. And I was seeing this all from outside, and me as a kid, I happened to look underneath that van. There was a guy that was underneath there. He had like a custom cage built where he was laying there, and he had an assault rifle himself. They actually left the door open on the van. They had other guys in there that they had swooped up on already. I guess they'd done a real big sweep. And me, what I made out of this, they left the door open so the individuals that were in there could try to escape. That way they could shoot them. That's the way I looked at it. There's no other reason why they did that. These people don't make mistakes. They play chess. People, like I told you, law enforcement, they're good at what they do. You know, we're good at what we do as well as far as criminals, but as you could see, we always end up behind them walls or locked up because we make mistakes. These guys usually cover their ends pretty good. So anyways, people, I just wanted to share that with you, man, and elaborate a little bit on what Dubs was saying. But yes, I've been speaking this and preaching about this. CDC plays chess, and us as inmates, we are the pawns, not the lifers, because they don't gain nothing out of the lifers. But these guys have an agenda. They know that these guys are gonna bump heads. They know the death rate is going to go up more. Whether it does or it doesn't, it's going to be televised more now. Anything and everything that goes on, and they want that to happen. And the reason is because they want any reason to slam the homies down again. And when I say homies, I'm talking about every race that's out there that was slammed down for all them years that were given that opportunity to come out and breathe again. They're looking for excuses to slam them down again. It's not excuses to secure that $100,000 a year per inmate, because guaranteed, even if they don't slam the homies down again, there's always going to be an individual that will fill an empty cell. Guaranteed. And the reason is because drugs are real, people. Alcoholism is real. When people live recklessly out here in the real world, thinking that they would never get caught up, they get caught up. And all it takes is making one stupid decision in your life that could land you behind them walls for the rest of your life. So that's the only part that I believe I don't agree with Mr. Dubs on, because they're guaranteed to get that feria with the lifers. And as far as the rehabilitation, there's always going to be people filling them empty beds, guaranteed. That county jail, LA County Jail, is overpopulated to this day. You know what I mean? Come on now. Putting 12 people in a fucking cell when it's only a 4-man cell, go figure. How did we do it? It's called survival, baby. But anyways, CDC, law enforcement, they play chess, and they're masters at their craft. So if you think you've got them beat, you better think twice. That's why them cells are filled. I was one of them individuals that thought that I was smarter than the law. But at the end of the day, as you can see, look at me. I got more than, I got 3 terms underneath my belt. Well, I have 3 numbers under my belt. I got a T number, J number, and a P number. And I was like one of the first J numbers. My CDC last 2 ended in 01. I know my complete CDC numbers, but I'm not here to put it out there because it's nothing to brag about, people. But anyways, people, with that being said, man, keep on getting up and getting yours. Out here in the real world, is where you need to be at, man. This is where you make a difference for your gente, where your voice can be heard. Because behind them walls, once you get slammed down, your voice is limited. It takes time to get to different places. Yes, I understand that they have these things in there called tablets now, but don't you think those things are monitored? They'll cut you off. They'll cut the signal off if they don't like what you're saying. You know what I mean? I could share stories about that too. Me saying a wrong word on the phone and getting gaffled up. Shit happens. Like I said, CDC, the law enforcement, they're the best players of chess. Real talk. Now, with that being said, man, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Put your notification bell on all. Share this channel. I'm tongue-tied a little bit right now because I have cotton mouth. I haven't had my sea salt and water with lime drink yet. You know what I mean? And the apple cider vinegar. I haven't had that. It's actually good for hydration. You know, lemons, cucumbers. That's what I drink on a daily, but I haven't had it yet. And it's late in the day. I'm sitting in the dead sun, as you guys could see. Even my lizard ran away on me. Got too motherfucking hot for him. Well, anyways, people, with that being said, man, if you want to get started in your fitness journey, shoot me a DM or email me at highpowerfitness@yahoo.com. Get up and get yours, baby. Let's do this.